So for most of us, we have a budget because we don't have money like that where we can just go out and spend unconsciously with no limits. And a budget is not the most sexy thing in the world because it basically places limitations on the financial freedom that we all wish we had, but we don't. So therefore, we have to put constraints around the amount of money that we're spending each month so that we stay within a budget so that we can accomplish some of the other things that we want to accomplish in life with our money. A lot of us struggle with budgeting because we always have these things that are draining a hole in our budget. And it's not the big obvious things like your expensive house or the expensive car or the luxury travel or the eating out or the shopping because you got to have the latest clothes and the designer brands. No, it is much more subtle than that. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. I want to talk about non-subtle things I believe are draining a hole in our budgets. So the first thing on the list is pets. Man, pets are like taking care of freaking kids. You got to have special food for them. You got to have grooming for them. And if you go out of town, you got to have daycare for them. And the craziest thing is to me is that we have pet insurance for them. We have 3 dogs that we have pet insurance on. That's crazy to me because when I grew up, we had pets and they lived outside. They ate table scraps and they lived a long time. Nowadays, not only are the kids soft, the pets are even soft. Next on the list is copays and deductibles. Now, as you get older, this one starts to knock a hole in your wallet because my wife recently was dealing with some neck issues, which required her going to multiple doctor's visits and specialists and things of that nature, right? So you're paying a copay every time you go. In addition, I had to go see the doctor because of my back, so that's more copays. And then in the past month, my son has been to 3 different specialists concerning his hip that he injured playing basketball, and that's copays for each one of those visits. In addition, my wife is a therapist and she believes in therapy. So she has her therapist. I've had a therapist. Our kids have therapists. So they're going to these visits and we're having to pay these copays and we're having to pay the copays for ourselves. So all of this stuff adds up and it has to come from somewhere. It comes from knocking a hole in your budget. Next up, delivery fees. So about 3 times to maybe sometimes even 4 times a month, my wife is going to order DoorDash or Uber Eats for dinner because, nobody's cooking or anything like that. So she orders the food. Obviously, you have delivery fees and then you have to give people tips. And she does all of the grocery shopping via delivery services. So again, you're talking about delivery service and then you're tipping the people. I would estimate that on a monthly basis, we probably spend $100 to $125 on delivery fees and tips for the delivery service drivers or the people who are shopping. So that's something that is eating a hole in our budgets. And I know that a lot of other people are experiencing the same thing. Glasses. Yes. The next one on the list is glasses. I wear glasses, my wife wears glasses, and my 3 kids wear glasses. And the insurance benefit, right, doesn't cover the full price of glasses and contacts. And me and my son, my youngest son, we both wear contacts as well. So you have this benefit that's like $200 for glasses or contacts, and some people, they want to look a little extra stylish with their glasses. The kids do. My wife does. Me, I'm probably more plain Jane and simple as well as my youngest son. But that overage, above what the benefit pays, it has to come from somewhere and it comes out of your pocket. And you're probably looking at, getting glasses every year, every couple of years maybe. So this is something that you don't think about as being a budget item, but it is when you have 5 people who wear glasses in your household. Next up on the list is alcohol. Now, I drink alcohol. I like cognac. I like Hennessy. And recently I started drinking the Hennessy VSOP. And that's about $65 for a 750 milliliter, in the street terms, a fifth. But I also started, experimenting with the Martell Blue Swift. And that's about $60 for a fifth, right? And if you, go hang with the fellas on the weekend and you buy one of those bottles and you go hang out with your fellas on the weekend, man, if you do that, once a week, you're talking about $240 a month on alcohol. And when people go out to eat dinner when they go to a concert, when they go to events and so forth, they may have drinks. And if it's you and your wife, you both have a drink or two, and you're talking about extra money that you're spending. And I don't think people really realize how much money we spend each month on alcohol. Next up on the list is bottled water. I like bottled water, but I acknowledge that it is a waste, especially when my kids were younger and we used to buy bottled water, and you would find 5 half full bottles of water laying around the house and nobody's claiming them. And then you have to pour them out because nobody wants to drink after somebody else, by accident. It's just a waste. All you really need is a reusable water bottle and a water filtration system, and you can get rid of this unnecessary expense. It does not seem like much, but when you're buying bottled water for the month, you could just eliminate this expense and save yourself hundreds of dollars for the year. The next thing is wasting money on organic and name brands. Does my naproxen, ibuprofen, Tylenol, Sudafed need to be name brand? No. You can get the generic brand from the store, the great value brand from Walmart, and it's going to work the exact same. We're just wasting money on following the name brands in these type of items. Also, do we need everything to be organic? I mean, if you're talking about watermelons and pineapples and onions and stuff like that, that the skin on these things is so tough that it is highly unlikely that any sort of pesticide or anything like that is going to penetrate to the edible part. So a lot of things that we're just buying organic for the sake of saying that we buy organic when it's really not necessary and we're just wasting money. So again, we could eliminate that just by being more mindful of the brands that we buy as well as the organic items that we buy, and we can stop letting this type of thing drain a hole in our budget. Streaming services. So we all need that escape from reality where we sit down and we watch some TV, a movie, or whatever the case may be, or some sports, right? I'm not against that because I do it. But I don't know anybody who has just one streaming service. For example, like you just have Netflix and that's it. No. Most people are going to have multiple streaming services, and my family's no different. We got rid of cable, but we still have Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime. And then my wife has her own subscriptions like Disney, Paramount, and HBO Max, and all this other stuff. So she streams a lot of shows, and she'll watch these series where they binge watch for a week and all of that crazy nonsense. But this is too much. We're wasting money in our budgets because I know a lot of you out there are doing the same thing in your households where you have multiple streaming services that you really don't need, and it's just draining a hole in your budget. Now, this last one here, I'm going to pin this one more on women, and it is gifts. Yes, there is too much gift buying to me. I don't even believe that we should be buying our young adult kids gifts. But if you're my wife, she's buying nieces, nephews gifts, and they're adults. And then she's buying, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, sister. It's like too much. There's just too much gift giving. And then also, she buys gifts for her close friends. And I'm like, this is just nonsense. Guys, we don't even do that type of stuff. I don't know any guys anyway that buy each other a birthday gift or buy each other a Christmas gift. That's pretty much, like a woman thing, in my opinion. And I'm not trying to be sexist here, but that's just been my experience. I just think we need to cut back on it. I really think the only people that we should be buying a gift for is, your spouse and your parents. And if you have young kids, yeah, you can buy them gifts. But even when they get to be adult kids, it's time to cut out the gift buying. They can go buy, gifts for their boyfriend or girlfriend themselves. So they don't need me to be buying gifts. And that way you stop having this drain on your budget. Every holiday, everything that pops up seems to require a gift. So stop that nonsense. Like I said earlier, these things are just a little bit more subtle than, the things that grab all of the attention. Like I said, like the expensive house, car, shopping, dining, and travel, and things of that nature. But when you take these subtle things and you start adding them all up each month, you're spending a lot of money. And most of the time, this is not something that is just spelled out directly in your budget. And you wonder why at the end of each month, you didn't hit your savings goal, you didn't hit your target. Well, it's because all of these little small subtle things, they are just like eating a hole in your budget. So that's all I have for you in this video. If you took something of value, please like and share with your friends and your family. And in the meantime, take care and be safe out here in these social media streets.